All right, guys, today is the day where we're going to retest the heavy 3,328 grain, basically half-pound arrow against 19 water jugs. We did 16 before, but we've been testing a high FOC arrow and a heavy micro diameter arrow against 16 jugs. The half-pound 3,328 grain arrow went all the way through 16 jugs a few months back. The other two arrows failed to do so. I think they only went through 13 and 14 respectively. And I want to see, with the tables I have right now, I can get about 19 jugs on those tables. So we're going to try and send this arrow through 19 water jugs. We'll see if we can penetrate them all, just penetrate through all of them. So let me go ahead and make sure this arrow is ready to go. And we'll weigh her up, just to make sure we're at 3,328 grains, basically half a pound. First things first is we gotta make sure all these weights are tight. Black Eagle comes with these fancy little Allen wrenches. Super long to go down the shaft to add weight. I believe we're all situated there. Yep. Pretty good. Perfect. All right, now let's get the broadhead on. Fortunately, my heaviest broadhead is 250 grains. I need to get new heads. Eventually, the goal is to get the Bishop 600 and some odd grain broadhead from Bishop Archery. Looks like a pretty good broadhead to get. Do a lot of FOC and just a lot of more arrow weight in general for your arrow setup. Go ahead and add that to the total arrow weight. Let's go ahead and add that to the arrow. Give us our total arrow weight. Let's check this out. Okay, this is our Black Eagle Carnivore 250 spine. Should be right about 3,328, 30 grains. All right. Total arrow weight, 3,324 grains. We are going to be testing this arrow again on water jugs. One, it's cheap, it's free basically. Why not? And two, I do think that water jugs are a really good test medium. Nothing obviously that you test for penetration is going to be one-to-one or identical to an animal. However, water jugs, mostly comprised of water, are not too dissimilar to a living, such as an animal, any given game that you're hunting, watery substances. So I think it's a pretty accurate, in that regard, test medium. I do think that I've noticed, at least with the penetration tests I've performed on these jugs, that the penetration differences don't vary that much. Maybe a jug or two in distance between, like, 2 to 500 grains. It's not that big of a difference. But when you jump, from what I've seen, when you jump from like 500 to 2,000 grains difference in weight, there's a huge increase in penetration from what I've seen. Now with that obviously comes shot distance. You're not going to be shooting far. Heavy arrows that are that heavy are going to be very unforgiving as far as range. if that's what you're after. However, it's very forgiving as far as penetration angle or shot angle. I feel like no matter where that elk or deer or bear or whatever you're hunting turns towards you, you're going to be able to go right through that thing with as heavy an arrow as one of these, for example. That's very forgiving. Whereas a lighter arrow, though it's forgiving as far as your pin gaps and how much you need to arc that arrow to compensate for a couple steps, any direction that animal takes, is not going to be as forgiving if that animal quartering to, or it's a frontal shot, or whatever the angle is. Your angle adjustment on there with a lighter arrow setup is going to be very unforgiving. So heavier arrows are very much forgiving in that regard. So that's why I'm very interested in testing. JUGS. Here's 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So it doesn't quite make it through 19, it looks like. I mean, it went through, just got hung up, probably on the fletches. That went through quite a few of them. Well, we'll have to test heavier weight. See what a heavier weighted arrow can do. That's impressive. I mean, it went through them all, just didn't pass through them all. 19 jugs. I feel like we need to go heavier. Again, we're not going for range. We're just going for brute force penetration, just to see how much damage, how powerful I should say an arrow can be. I think the weight of an arrow is underrated. I think you get a lot more forgiveness and penetration with mass. I mean, that definitely out-penetrated the high FOC arrow, the micro diameter arrow. So let me know what you think. Tell me what you think is the best penetration. I'm still under the impression that arrow mass trumps all. That was a lot of water jugs that arrow still went through. That was impressive. No rifle could ever do that. Not even a 50 BMG would get stopped with the amount of velocity and compared to the mass of the bullet. So, all right, guys, we'll catch you on the next one.